All right, looks like we're here and ready to go. So we're going to get started today on an 820-3462 board. Interesting thing going on with this one, in addition to the fact that it has a little bit of evidence that I'm not the first one here, like almost every single board that we work on nowadays, as you can see with a resistor that looks like it's been fluxed or screwed with over here. We also have it turning on, but not giving a picture on the screen and also not chiming. So before we go into the actual issue with this board, let's just go into some common misconceptions when troubleshooting these. A lot of people will assume no backlight when the problem is actually no image. The screen is not even activated, so you're not going to get a light. Now, the next issue is that people will assume no image when it's actually no brain. And here, I think we may have a case of no brain because we're not getting a chime. So the first thing I'm going to do here is plug in my HP charger, because yes, this MagSafe is actually attached to my HP 6542 power supply. And we're going to turn it on and see if we have CPU vCore, which is going to be the brain. And anybody here who's ever done any type of overclocking before will know that. Audio out of sync, of course it's out of sync. Why would pedal board actually work? Let's close it and reopen. And with any luck, it's back and decides to actually work this time. So then we're going to check CPU vCore, and anybody who's ever done overclocking before knows what that is. That's the voltage that goes to the CPU. So let's turn on my serial mode and my multimeter here and get started. Yeah, so there's this program I use called Pedal Board. It has two settings. You can use direct sound, where it will go out of sync, and you can use Windows Audio, where it won't go out of sync. It'll just crack, or regardless of how high you set the buffer. Gotta love technology. I tried using Reaper, actually, as an intermediary between audio and plugins and OBS, but it was awful. It didn't work at all. And OBS's VST plugin support is, I guess, what you deserve for free. Anyway, so let's open up the schematic in the board view and try to find out where we'd find CPU vCore on this. So CPU vCore is gonna be where will we click? Here we go. PPV Core SO CPU Phase 1. PPV Core SO CPU on R7510. Okay. Hey, where'd my Time Warner thing go? Oh, there we go. So on this screen, I don't have the entire banner because it would take up too much space. So let's see. Our CPU vCore is 0.006 volts. No good. So this is where a lot of people are going to make the mistake of unplugging it. They're going to put the multimeter to resistance mode. They're going to see if there's a short to ground. And then they're going to do something like this. Oh my God, 1.8 ohms, it's shorted to ground. And then they're going to run a volt or 2 volts in there, and they're going to kill the CPU. So before we continue, let's just go over this since it gets asked on the forum all the time. So let's say we were to go to something like an Ohm's law calculator, and we'll see if my display capture works today, since it never does seem to work when I want it to. So if I were to go to, let's say, screen cap, here we go. It actually works today. Imagine that. So now, let's say the CPU uses 1 volt. I'm just rounding here, right? Now, let's say that a CPU can use 45 watts of power. Now, in order to deliver 45 watts of power at 1 volt, what do you get? You get a resistance of 0.02 ohms. Now, even if it was something like some 20 watt CPU, let's say 20 watt CPU, same shit, 0.05 ohms. So for the love of God, if you're dealing with a chip that uses a high voltage, a low voltage, but uses a high power, don't assume there's a short to ground because you read low resistance. In order to get a lot of current out of a 1 volt or a half a volt or a 1.5 volt circuit, there needs to be a low resistance to ground. That's not a short circuit to ground. That's just a working circuit doing its job. So let's just continue here. So I am not going to assume shorted CPU because that is not something that happens very often on this model. I would say, however, that it could be that it's not, the vCore is not being created due to the chipset. You would like access to Apple hardware test diagnostic. That would be lovely to have access to the newer Apple hardware test and diagnostic. Would you pay 1K for the new iPhone X? I wouldn't pay $1 for a fucking iPhone. I wouldn't take an iPhone if you gave it to me for free. If you paid me $10 a day to use an iPhone, I'd do it. It decreases testosterone. No thank you. No thanks. Oh, fucking piece of shit audio software. All right, let's change. Okay, so now it won't be out of sync. It's just going to crackle every now and then for no reason. I like how instead of one person saying it or two people, like 30 people say it at the same time. Because that's really going to change it. Anyway, let's see. So the issue that so now we're going to have crackling audio rather than that audio, but I got to get better software than pedalboard. I'm kind of getting what I pay for here. Where was I before that happened? I was discussing... so let's see what is going to create CPU vCore. So let's find that and see if CPU vCore is being asked to be created. I would love to have access to the Apple hardware test, but no such luck. I use pedalboard to run my plugins. Let's see. That's the exact same topic I was explaining at iFixit Unconference when JW was sitting in the room after effing the whole GPU line on a 6S. Who is JW? I don't know what JW is. What's a JW? I don't know. I don't use these acronyms. Anyway, so let's move on past Jess's silly acronyms. And let's find out what makes CPU vCore, shall we? All right, so PP vCore SO CPU looks like it's something that's created out of U7400. Excuse me. Let's look up U7400. Now, U7400. Now, which pin on this chip is going to tell it to turn on? Which pin? Excuse me. Oh, man. Need some water. CPU, IMVP, AXG. You know who JW... No, I don't. I really don't. Does JW mean Justice Warrior? Yeah, it must be some... I don't know. That's PhD for something. CPU, IMVP, P-Good. No. CPU, IMVP, AXG, P-Good. Polka, Poke B, Ver Hot. I think this is very hot. Huh. Drv, no. EN. Ooh, N, like enable. Maybe that's what's going to tell it to work. So CPU IMVP VR on. Let's see where that comes from. Jessa, I don't understand you and your silly acronyms. What is it with people that get a PhD that think that acronyms are so important? These esoteric acronyms mean everything. So, let's get the multimeter back on and see what we get. Excuse me. Okay, I'm just going to get some water. Alex Jones is going to be pissed that I'm getting water out of my sink. Alex Jones would be mad that I didn't filter my water today. Ah, needed that. All right, so the chip itself could be bad, or the chip could not be being told to turn on. So let's see what the case is. Now, we should be getting something like 3.3 volts there. The system works on 3.3 volt logic. As you know, PP3V3S5 is what powers the PCH, which is going to be creating most of these logic signals. And PP3V3S5 is also used in most of the logic gates inside the machine. So this system's going to work on 3.3 volt logic, meaning I should get a 0 for no and a 3.3 for yes. And when we measure that pin, we get 0.068 volts. Now, that's not a valid state. That's not a no. That's not a yes. That's maybe kind of, sort of, or broken. So where does that come from? CPU MVP VR on comes from. Thanks for your work. Watching them for 2 years right now. Don't stop your work. Senpai means teacher in Japanese. Great, now I finally know. Ah, that was loud. All right, lower my volume. All right, so CPU MVP VR on. Where does that come from on this model? Thank you to MaxCat. Very kind of you. Should also figure out how to put that higher. CPU VR on comes from Allsys Power Good. Now I'm going to skip over R7974 because you can see that resistor below, and as you can see, that resistor looks just fine. Doesn't look like it needs a damn bit of help from me. We're going to find Allsys Power Good. Where does that come from? All underscore sys underscore per good. Like purr good, like my kitty is purring and happy. So all is good. Yeah, what do you know? It's right under here. I missed it. So this is a system. The whole concept over here, this system is going to output all sys power good if PP3V3SO and PP3V3S5 and PP1V5S3RSO and PP1V05SO and P1V5SOP good and P1VSOP good and P5VS4P good and you get the idea. All this shit is present. If all these rails are present, then we'll get all sys power good. But I don't think we're getting all sys power good. So let's check and see if that is the case. So we're going to go back to this view. We're going to find Q7950. Q7950. We're going to figure this out. Here we go, right over here, we've got Q7950. And on pin 4, we should get all sys power good. And when we check over here, do we get all sys power? Oh, that same 0.068 volts again. All right, so let's see what's missing. So we're going to check at PP3V3S5 on R7956. Where is R7956? Here we go. All right, so over here, we should get 3.3 volts at PP3V3S5. And we got that. On R79, let's see, where do we get? What about R7951? Where's R7951? On R7951, we should get PP3V3SO, which is going to be there because the machine is on, which it is. Okay, so R7954 comes next. On R7954, we should have PP1V5, which is 1.5 volts. And what? 0.3 volts? Thank you for the videos. I've learned so much more. Please keep them coming. Will do. Is God dead, Lewis? What doesn't exist, I don't think can be dead. I don't know. When I die, I'll happily let you know. But for now, I got no idea. That question is outside my realm of expertise or authority. Okay, so 0.399 volts. That doesn't seem like the 1.5 volts I'm supposed to be getting. So where would PP1V5S3RSO come from? Let's find that and see if that's the root cause of our problem and why we're not getting CPU vCore. Fuck YouTube for not notifying me of streams anymore. Yeah, they have a tendency to do that. I can't be too mad since they host my stuff for free, but okay. Now that comes out of a buck converter that's going to take what I imagine to be 12.6 volts and turn it into 1.5 volts based on U7801. So let's find U7801 now, shall we? U7801 is going to be over here, right next to the CPU, right near where there was flux. Okay. This is all starting to come together now, and I hope that you've been paying attention. So from the beginning of this video, I told you that there was a little bit of flux over here that shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't say shouldn't have, but it means that somebody had fucked with this before sending it to me, which makes me believe that this board had already been cleaned. In addition, already being cleaned, after that they did some rework over here, which tells me that this is most likely where the water went. So if the water went over here, then it's not a big jump to assume that if the water got here, that the water also got over here to this chip, which is the chip that's going to be responsible for creating our rail that is currently missing. So let's just make some measurements around that area and see what we get. Make sure to keep this microscope in focus, keep it nice and sexy looking. Looks like we got 0 drop frames. If that kind of wondering if NitroCast just plug-in is some fake news there. That doesn't sound right at all. All right, so let's go back to the schematic over here. So remember, we shouldn't blame the chip first. I'm not going to blame U7400 for not turning on when it is not being told to turn on, and I cannot blame U7801 for not creating my power rail if it's not being told to. Now, I have a feeling that it is being told to turn on because I'm getting 0.3. If it was not being told to turn on, I'd be getting something like 0. But the fact that it's creating 0.3 tells me that it's not being told to turn on because it doesn't have voltage at the on pin. Rather, it's being told to turn on, but somebody's trying to stop it, whether it's a short to ground or a bad chip, and that's what we're going to try to figure out today. So let's check on pin 2 and 3 where P1V5 CPU-EN is supposed to be present and see if that signal is present at those 2 pins, which I think it might be, and then move on from there. So we're going to go over here and check on pins 2 and 3. 2 got 3.3 volts, and on pin 3, 3.43 volts. Now at this point, I am inclined to blame that chip for not working. And this is a chip that I should probably actually stock because I've seen it go bad on other boards before. So remind me to find this the moment that I get off of the stream. By the way, if you do want to buy many of the chips that I use in these streams, feel free to check out the link below. We sell chipsets, we sell multimeter probes, we sell flux, we sell solder paste, we sell solutions, we sell answers to your questions, solutions to your problems, and, okay, enough being an infomercial. So let's get a donor board, remove that thing, and be on our way. Did you call the number I gave you to sick the city bureaucracy on Time Warner? I have not, since I've had a lot of stuff to do. I've been quite busy lately, so it's one of those things that I just haven't wanted to put myself through the hell of being on hold. I had to file another chargeback on something the other day, and it was like 2 hours on hold with Chase. Oh, that was painful. I just need a break. Excuse me, before I do that again. You recommend an alternative to MacBook Pro 13-inch ThinkPad. A good ThinkPad. That's right, Time Warner. Drop them frames. Now we're going to be a little careful here because we're right next to a CPU. We don't want to kill it. Which software are you using for schematics? The schematics are Sumatra PDF, which you can find online for free. That's a PDF reader. And the board view is using Open Board View, which is linked in the description below. I don't really have anything to say about the new iPhone. I just don't care. I didn't even watch the event. I have such little care I never watch the events where Apple releases new products. I really don't care. It doesn't affect me one bit. Parts for these devices are usually not released until they've been out for at least a year or two anyway, and people don't break them until they've been out for a year or so, so there's not really much point for me to care. It's certainly sure as fucking not going to be caught dead with one, so, you know. Alright. Why MacBook Pro is bad in your opinion? Okay, where do we even start? A, the new MacBook Pros have the solid-state drive soldered in. So, hey, did you forget to copy something over to your external before your machine crashed and died? Fuck you, your data is now gone. B, no liquid resistance in spite of the fact that Lenovo and IBM have had that for something like 13 years now. Spill water into your Lenovo, still works. And by the way, I did a review of the P50 where I did just that. I spilled nearly a gallon of water into my Lenovo, and it still works to this day. Spill water on an apple, and, well, you see what happens here. Fuck, put your apple next to a window and the thing will... The keyboard is not as comfortable as the Lenovo. The battery is fucking glued in, so... Don't get me wrong, I give Samsung shit for that too. I am pissed that Samsung's been gluing batteries in. But at the very least, they gave you water resistance with it. But with laptops, I don't want to deal with a fucking glued in battery. No. They're just fundamentally more durable machines. Now, if you have some very specific need to use the OS X operating system, by all means, buy a Mac. And you want it to just work out of the box and not have to go through the torture and the hell of kexts and fucking around with stuff to make a Hackintosh. But if you don't need Mac OS, then fuck this hardware, seriously. Okay. Dying GPUs every other year. Really, why do you want to put yourself through that? Why would you want to put yourself through that? What kind of masochist are you? Okay, that's my rapid cool technology. The chip should be cooled off to the point where I can now plug it in, get some results. Ah, my multimeter disappeared. Here, multimeter. Copy transform. Can I copy transform? Here we go. Copy transform. Paste transform. There we go. My meter is back. My fan is spinning. Now let's see if I have CPU vCore. I'm going to go back to this area over here by the CPU. And I still don't got CPU vCore. Let's go over to... Hey, alright. Turn this off, go back to the drawing board. What do you think about Fujitsu laptops? I've never seen one, to be honest with you. Everybody's complaining about MacBook Pro, but please tell me some potential alternative. Thin, battery life, silent, weight. Did we not just say ThinkPad? Did like 3 people in chat not just tell you ThinkPad, Carbon? Did I not say ThinkPad? I believe I said ThinkPad. Ah, the selective voices. Selective listening. Selective listening. All right. All right. Why do you not want to work the way you're supposed to? So, let's see. Where can I measure output on this side of the board? So we've got a resistor that's supposed to be 0 ohms that's going between this transistor and U7801. That's supposed to be 0 ohms, right? This R7801 resistor. Well, it is 0 ohms, but it looks like shit. Actually, so I kind of wonder there. Let's see. So let's just measure on pins 1, 2, and 3 of Q7801 and see what we're getting out of there. You recommend a flux that is not only available in the USA. We ship almost worldwide. I don't... Okay, so pins 1, 2, and 3. Where do we find those? Pin 1, down here. Alright, so it looks like we have no change. Huh. Interesting. Alright, so something could either be pulling down the voltage after. That could be it. That could be a thing. Or it could be that that transistor and that resistor are kind of screwed. Let's see. So where does that voltage go? So after that that goes straight to the CPU. Yikes. That's not good. And now I'm curious, what is the resistance on my donor board in that area? So resistance on my donor, which for all I know is dead for the same reason, 99 ohms. Okay, and resistance on this one, 130 ohms. All right, I don't think it's shorted to ground. And this is a fairly simple circuit as well. Not a lot that can go wrong here. It's literally U7801, Q7801. Hi, Lewis, this is Matthew Wickstrom. Hello. All right, so, well, let's just plug it back in and make sure everything is where it's supposed to be first. So on pin 1 of this chip, I should be getting PP5VS5. I should be getting 5 volts there, which I probably am, but you know, just going to make sure. Double check. And it looks like I do. Okay, now on Q7801, I'm supposed to be getting this thing on pin 5. Wait a second. I'm supposed to be getting 1.5 volts on pin 5. Oh, I'm being dumb. Oh, I'm being really dumb. I think I did something very stupid here. Wait, no. Pin 5 here. No. Okay, I'm supposed to be getting 1.5 volts on pin 5. So this is not a buck converter. This is just a... Yeah, this is not a buck converter. I'm being an idiot. I called that a buck converter because I'm being a... Oh, man. Take too much time off and look what happens. Okay, so this is not a buck converter. This is just taking 1.5 volts and sending it somewhere. Yeah, of course this is not a fucking buck converter because it goes straight to the CPU. There's no capacitors or coil here. Why the hell did I call that a buck converter? Am I losing my mind? Alright, so I guess I'm losing my mind. I called that a buck converter when it is not a buck converter. So it looks like pin 5. Thank you again for the great videos. What, if any, formal training in electronics do you have? I have none. I'm self-taught over 25 years. I have no formal training. I failed at most formal training. Okay, so it looks like we have nothing up here. Nothing at all. So that 0.3 volts coming on output, or 0.4 volts on output, that's interesting. All right, so let's see where this is supposed to come from. Let's chase this rabbit here. PPVin S3, P1V5, S3RSO, FET. Where do you come from, mofo? You come from PPDDR S3 Reg. Okay, so that's a subrail of PP1V5, 1RV blah. Let's just copy and paste and call it a day. What are the areas to test for when you're missing PM Sleep S4L? I have an entire playlist on this channel dedicated to PM Sleep S4L. I would suggest you watch the videos in the PM Sleep S4L playlist. They may be enlightening. Alright, so where does this rail come from? I see it going to RAM, but that's great, but... Okay, you come out of TPS 51916. Alright, so let's follow this rabbit down to U7300. Hi. What a fucking mess. Alright, so U7300 is going to create PPDDR S3 Reg. So let's check on L7330 now. L7330 is going to be below the RAM over here. Okay, and what do we get here? We get 0.010 volts. All right, now let's continue and check and see if this is doing its job. So U7801 was fine. Me replacing that was me being a fucking idiot. So U7300. U7300. Now we have DDR VTT enable and DDR reg enable. Let's make sure the chip is being told to turn on. Now the VTT voltage is going to be, let's see, this VTT thing over here. So I'm interested in whether the reg is present. So DDR reg enable. That's going to be on pin 16 of U7300. Let's find U7300. Today I repaired Lenovo G50 liquid damage thanks to your videos. Thank you for sharing and thank you for the 25 pulms. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm glad you were able to fix something from the material on this channel. Makes me happy every time I see somebody make something work again that would otherwise have gone in the trash. Okay. So pin 16. Pin 16. Pin 16 is going to be over here. And it looks like this chip is being kind of sort of being told to turn on DDR reg. But it's not. Alright, so you're supposed to be turning on DDR reg and you're not. So I would say repeal and replace. I think there's something interesting about a technology that can tell your face from a mask of you, that can determine attention and still ID you with a beard in the dark and be worth $5. Alright, so we're going to put a little bit of flux here. We're going to put a little bit of flux over there, just a small amount, and start preheating the board. Get ready to repeal and replace. Now also notice the enable is pulled down a little bit. And I don't think the enable being pulled down is what's causing the issue. 3.1 versus 3.3. Not a big deal. I think that this chip being bad may be fucking things up and pulling my enable down. Now if this is the chip that's bad, then I'll have to add it to my arsenal on the site of chips that I sell. Now notice that 2 of these pins refuse to come off. So I'm fairly convinced that this chip is fucked now. After everything else had been melted for a good 5 seconds, these pins refused to come off. So something tells me that that was my issue. You ever clean ICs and attempt to reconnect the same chip as it may frequently be bad contact? I do that with machines for which there is no schematic and board view available. When the chips cost of like $1 or $2, I don't really care to waste my time on shit like that. But if I don't know what the chips are, then it is worthwhile for me to waste my time on things like that. But I prefer to avoid doing that. And yes, you can do that, but again, the chips are $1. Customers are paying $200 to $400. It's not really something that I care for. Paul is here. What's up, Paul? I hope Paul doesn't quit after his first weekend dealing with East Village customers. I think I may have found the Apple hardware test. I made the bootable USB on a Mac and it worked on my Mac Pro. Here's the link. Well, the thing is, since I'm going to lose that, I appreciate it. I'm probably going to lose that link since I'm doing this thing at the moment, but I appreciate it. I'm going to wind up bothering you for that again later. I have recently learned that my threshold to reball is $7, so Mason is now in. Yeah. Mason's a ripoff. Oh, Mason's a scam. Let's see. Tim, I'm not sure if crap under the SMC would cause what you're seeing. The random... It could. The power cycling... It's possible. So this is a brand new T30KN. This is my micro soldering tip that I have in the description below. I just bought a new one because I bent my old one. Every time I do that, it's 45, 50 bucks down the drain. But it's a good tip, so... to clean my idiocy. Way too much solder. Damn straight. Damn straight. I knew Jessa wasn't doing the reball. Maybe worth it financially, but it's not worth it sanity-wise. Yep, it's always worth it if there's somebody else doing it. I agree. Has Time Warner fixed your internet yet? I'm not sure. We'll see. I have a feeling the sponsorship is going to continue here. Okay. Let's see if we have any changes. These boards are amazing at absorbing and dissipating heat. There's no other board on earth that I could dry off as quickly as this one. I wonder if it's part of Apple's design that the machines just kind of boil themselves from the inside. These boards absorb and dissipate amazing amounts of heat. It would be great if the cooling system did that, but if the cooling system doesn't do that, at the very least the board does. Alright, so it looks like no change here. So we're still getting 0 volts on DDR reg. This chip is still getting 3.1 volts on the enable for that. DDR reg EN, DDR reg EN. Let's see, what am I getting on VTT? Let's just check both of the enables. That enable is getting me... Interesting. So it's interesting that those are both off by a very small amount. So R7911. Let's see, R7911 is going to be PM Sleep S4L going there. And then MEMVTT enable comes from this complicated nightmare. Huh. Alright, this is starting to become a little annoying. So let's check this resist. Let's check this PM R7911. Let's see what the voltage is on each side of that. Interesting about this voltage drop here. So 3.3 on one side and 3.1 on the other. Now that resistor, for DDR, this resistor R7911, what's the resistance supposed to be? 5.1 kilo ohms. And of course you're right within spec. Fucker! Push it. Ah! Damn it. How are we still getting the exact same 0? Alright, PP3V3S5. I mean PP1V5S3 or whatever. Resistance on this board is 700 ohms. Resistance on this random donor board is around the same thing. So what would stop U7300 from creating... Ah, this chair squeaks too much. Let's see, is it at least making the VTT voltage? I'm kind of curious. Let's see what's coming out of pin 3. This creates DDR reg and DDR VTT. Are we just missing one, or are we missing both? No, I already saved an SMC for Paul as the first one. I actually saved a pile. Okay, so let's see. Where's pin 3? Pin 3 is... Interesting that this chip is producing neither VTT nor the regular voltage. Perhaps the nasty, disgusting-looking donor board that I took this chip off of is not good. Let's just entertain that for a moment. That piece of shit donor is not a good donor. So there's a running joke around here, because the donor boards that we buy that have good stuff, they don't have CPUs on them. They get ripped off. That's the only way that this is economically viable to buy these boards, is they don't have a CPU or a PCH or anything. And every now and then there'll be a board that has a CPU, which means it was something we couldn't fix, which means that there's a good reason that it couldn't be fixed because, well, you know, dead chips, so or dead traces or whatever. So I don't like trusting boards that have CPUs on them very much. So let's put a proper chip on here. Bring in my own stencil. It's new and not bent. Hey, my stencils are not bent. My stencils are amazing. Brand new. Why don't I get a new chip? Because I don't want to spend money on chips. Those chips are for customers that pay. I'm not a paying customer. I'm a bum. I'm a bum. Too much solder again. What do you do when there's too much solder? You can use wick. Look at that wick. I'm wicking with a micro pencil. If that's not sexy, I don't know what is. Okay, let's solder on a new U7300 and hope we get DDR VTT and DDR reg in it, and regular DDR reg. With any luck, we do. Louis, what do you think of the person who installed an audio jack on the phone? I don't know. Like, I want to like it. I really do. I want to like it, but I don't really care much. It just seems like it seems like a bit of a novelty. Like, I went to read the description of the video, and there's a link, and there's like there's credits, and one of the credits is to a YouTube strategist. It's like, YouTube strategist? Okay. I don't know. It's cool as a novelty and all, but I don't want to spend like 120 hours of my life trying to figure out how to do that. God bless him for figuring it out, you know. There are people, I mean, I know it exists because there are like 5 or 10 people that made sure to leave a comment on almost every video I've done with a link to it. what he's doing is probably a good way to get a job somewhere else. You know, that's your resume, really. That's what I try to tell a lot of the people who ask about how to find jobs and do stuff, you know. His resume is that he can say, look, I went around China. A lot of people didn't like that this phone didn't have a headphone jack. I searched China. I spent time with engineers. I fucked with shit, and I made it a fucking headphone jack. As a, you know, as something that I would use, no, waste of time. But as a resume for yourself, if you want to get a job, that's a great resume right there. Like, that's what employers want to see, that you can solve problems on your own, use your brain on your own, think, take responsibility, solve stuff. Like, that's what people want to see. So I don't know if he's looking for a job or something somewhere, some large company, but if you were, that's a great way to set yourself apart from the resume mill. Bluetooth is so much nicer. And I have these short A1425s, and I know a lot of companies make wireless Bluetooth cables for them. I mean, like, you know, the cable that has Bluetooth with it, but I don't like that they don't have wireless charging. I finally got a wireless charger for my Samsung, and it's this new, it's beautiful. When I get up or sit down, I'm always charging without having to plug shit in. I don't want to add another thing to that. So if once somebody comes out with something like that that has wireless charging, I'm on it. But until then, I don't really care. You planning on moving your store to another place? I don't know. You never know. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Maybe I open another one. I'm going to be here until at least 2023, that's for sure. Alright, let's see if another chip gives us some better results. So on pin 3, we're supposed to be getting 0.75 volts of DDR VTT. And we still get absolutely nothing. Okay, so this is starting to become some bull. Now let's see, what do we get on pin 2? On pin 2, we're supposed to be getting, let's see now, on pin 12. Pin 12 is going to be the PP5VS3, what the chip needs to turn on. So let's see, what do we get at pin 12? And herein lies the funk. The machine is on, but pin 12, which is supposed to power this stupid chip, is getting nothing? Am I missing something here? Did I put the multimeter in the wrong position? I probably put the meter in the wrong position. It's hard to believe that I'd be that lucky. No, 0.95. Wait a second. So this chip, U7300, needs PP5VS3 in order to work. And let's check this out. PP5VS3. So PP5VS3 is present on, let's see. Why is PP5VS3 0.096 volts over here? Huh. How the hell is this even turning on? I have a spinning fan, don't I? I do. What the fuck, man? Okay, this is starting to get confusing. PP5, let's see, PP5VS3. Why are we missing that rail? Hi, this is definitely an interesting mix of issues. PP5VS3. That's the second time I replaced the chip that probably is not bad. Alright, P5VS, this is sad. P5VS3, enable. Q78, let's check out Q7850. Q7850. And we're back to that area where there was flux originally. Alright, we're making our way somewhere. All right, so Q7850 is going to allow PP5ES3 to flow through. I thought you needed PP5ES3 for the fan even spin. Okay, you probably needed that on 2012 and older, or on the Airs, but on the Retinas you need PP5ES4, not PP5ES3 for the fan of spin. All right, that thought escaped me. I didn't even think to check that. All right, so this is so rarely even a problem. So Q7850 over here is going to open if the voltage in the gate is lower than the source. In order for the voltage in the gate to be lower than the voltage in the source, we need Q7852 to send the gate voltage to ground when PP5ES3EN is there. So let's find Q7852, which I bet is this bastard over here, and let's see if P5ES3ENL is present, and we're back to the beginning of the riddle here. So let's see if we can solve what somebody else could not. I hope I can. I think I can. I think I can. I hope I can, but I hope. All right, so it looks like. What am I measuring? Wait, let's see. I am measuring P5ES3ENL, which is okay. So that is pin 3. That is present on the drain. I want the gate. The gate is pin 1 up here. And the gate has 0 volts. What? Interesting. Is this resistor doing its job? Are you resisting? Are you hashtag resisting? Okay, you are hashtag resisting. Is this seriously not... Is this trace not attached? Tell me this shit's not attached. Wow. Okay, so P5VS... So check this out. So PM Sleep S4L... Once PM Sleep S4L is there, it's going to let out P5VS3EN. And P5VS3EN is going to enable PP5VS3. So there's supposed to be a connection between here, and there isn't one. And because of that, P5VS3 is not present. Since PP5VS3 is not present, P1V5S3 is not present. Since P1V5S3 is not present, we're not getting CPU V-core. Since we're not getting CPU V-core, we're not getting a screen. So what we need to do is reattach this point over here to this over here. This connection between these points is broken, and we're going to reattach it with a wire right now. So really, it was this the entire fucking time. The entire fucking time. Oh, man. Paul, this is the type of shit that I'm going to expect you to do better than me. I hold you to the higher standard. You must be smart. You must be smarter than me. Okay, let's put this in focus. Focus, you bastard. Focus, you bastard. Oh shit, my resistor. My resistor almost ran away there for a moment. Mofo. Alright, let's turn the board so it's actually comfortable. One of my rules that I'm not obeying tonight, one of the many rules of mine that I'm not obeying tonight, like check that the input is there before replacing the chip. That's one of my main rules that I talk about in every video, and I ignored it. The second rule is set up the space in the desk so it's comfortable for you, not the board. Nobody cares about the board's comfort. We care about your comfort. So let's set this up so that it's comfortable for me. And work on it from there. Someone says that looks so shit. Well, if you wanted good soldering, you wouldn't have sent it here. You would. Okay. Let's rotate this back around, and we'll be in business. All right, I have some faith that this is going to work awesome. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a nice, beautiful CPU V-Core having MacBook Pro, baby. Did I just call a MacBook Pro nice? That was a complete accident. My bad. You know what I mean. That's my wire. All right. CPU V-Core. Gonna plug it in. Gonna take my meter. Do I get CPU V-Core? Mother of fucker. Seriously. Okay. This is some horse shit. That's bullshit. All right, let's continue. We're going to continue down this rabbit hole. Okay. That's some horse shit right there. Fucking piece of filth. Okay. Back to work. So, this transistor here is not going to turn on unless the gate is lower than the source. The source voltage is there. We need to send the gate voltage to ground, which gets sent through here, which means that I need to have voltage in the gate that's higher than the source. And let's see what the fuck is going on by my jumper wire, because I feel like I solved this. Did I not solve this? So we're going to check out pin 1 where I ran my shit wire to. And pin 1 is indeed 3.3 volts. So if pin 1, the gate is 3.3 volts, that means that the drain voltage should be getting sent to ground. So pin 3, which is down here, should not be 5. Pin 3 should be 1. But it's not. Which means that Q7852 must be fucked. All right. All right, board. All right, you little bastard. You're not going to fucking beat me. Not going to get beat by an Ivy Bridge. You obsolete piece of trash. Get the... Whoops. Okay, put the resistor back there. Get the fuck off my board. Get the fuck off my mother. I should have guessed that was bad as well. Think about it. Seriously, think about it. If something happened so drastic that it broke the trace between here and here, then wouldn't it be logical that it also broke the transistor? I mean, that's something that I should have been able to guess. You piece of... This is just a troll. It's like so many little individual wastes of time. Like just so many little things that I take for granted as working that I shouldn't have taken for granted on this one. Oh man, this is not gonna win. You're not gonna win. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get V-Core. I'm gonna get V-Core in time to leave by 7:45. Get myself some food before the burrito place closes. Finish adding some new products to the website. Let's see. Louis, do you have parts for PlayStation 4? Yes, I do actually. Somebody asked me about that the other day. We have HDMI ports. We have the slim one, the regular one. We got some Samsung shit in as well, so you can check that out. And if there are things that you're interested in, then do let me know. Message me on Twitter or something, or send something to the help email, and I will try to find it. Oh, shit. Flip over. Flip back over. I'm not leaving this for Paul, Jessa. I'm leaving him stuff that's way worse than this. You don't understand. The reason that I'm so determined to fix this is if I don't fix this one, then I have to fix the rest of this stuff, which I fervently do not want to do. All that other crap is being left for Paul. Aren't you so excited? Okay, let's turn this around so it's comfortable to work on. All we got to do is flow that little bastard into place. Our jumper wires in place, our solder's there, our flux is there, and now we have a quality transistor in place. Pretty. Piotr says WTF. WTF indeed. Please don't tell me Time Warner has been the main supporter of the stream. Your streams have been the best for being on Hangover. Cheers from EU. Keep up the great work. Why, thank you. They are a sponsor, whether they like it or not, whether they have approved it or not, whether they have asked for it or not. They have become a sponsor, and I make sure to include a nice little notice telling everybody what type of quality internet connections they give on every single stream. Because that's just the type of person that I am, you know? Since I know that I'm never going to get a real sponsor and that most real brands are scared away the moment they watch more than 5 seconds of anything that I have to say, I am more than happy to have a little bit of fun with it. Especially, and if it's going to be at someone's expense, then who deserves it more than Time Warner? All right, back to CPU vCore. What do we get? CPU vCore. Show me something. Plugged in. Turning on. Motherfucker. 0.8 volts. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. CPU vCore. Board is fixed, fully functional. I have CPU vCore. My CPU is getting warm, so I'm going to turn it off now. I had fan spin before I unplugged it. That is it. That is my full testing. That is my full diagnostic procedure to ensure that there are no faults with the system and no faults with this board before giving it back to the customer. 110% mwah, from my desk to your credit card. I declare that board done. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody who clicked on one of those links below to buy something. Thank you, everybody who bought something from our site, whether it was multimeter probes, a TriStar chip, an ISL, anything. And as always, thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something.